Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the first news show for the Camino. This is your source for Camino news and for connecting with fellow pilgrims. We'll be coming to you every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central European Time. The last Wednesday of every month, we'll be doing a live show, and you will be invited to join us. Well, there's been a lot of big news in the past couple of weeks, so let's get you caught up. First off, we are also happy and relieved to hear that Dan Mullins has his voice back, and he has planned to celebrate by putting out a new album. And guess what? He's going to do it while he's walking the Camino. He'll be doing live concerts from León to Santiago, and they're also going to be making a documentary about this walk and the making of his new album. If you would like to join Dan or learn more about this, please see the link in the show notes. Also, big news, there's going to be a new movie out about the Camino. It's coming from Bill Bennett, and it's based on his memoir called The Way, My Way. And this book is just a hilarious book, but also a book that really captures the essence of what it means to be a pilgrim. And one of the things I'm super excited about is that the majority of actors in this movie are actual pilgrims, not professional actors, but actual pilgrims. So I think this is just going to be so exciting to see. We're hoping that the movie will be out in July. More updates to come. And have you heard also, The Way is going to have a sequel. So yes, there's going to be a Way number 2. Martin Sheen was recently at the American Pilgrims on the Camino annual house. He said that they are in the process right now of raising funds to begin filming the sequel. Boy, I think that is so exciting, and I can't wait to see that. Speaking of American Pilgrims on the Camino, they will be holding their annual gathering this March in San Antonio. They have a wonderful lineup planned for that meeting. I'm sure they're going to sell out, so make sure that you check the link out in the show notes. And now for what's trending on social media. I think a lot of people are beginning to plan their walk for 2024. So I thought it might be fun. If you're planning a walk, let us know which route you're doing and approximately when. And maybe you'll be able to connect with someone else that's walking around the same time, and you'll be able to start forming a pilgrim family right now before you even get to Spain. And speaking about getting to Spain, a lot of people have been asking about, I think I might want to move to Spain at some point. Well, Johnnie Walker has written a fantastic guide for all English speakers about the process of moving to Spain. I'll have a link to that in the show notes, so be sure to check that out. It's a wonderful guide. And if you even are just, casually thinking about it, check out the guide. You might just find yourself living here in Spain. And speaking of Johnnie Walker, each week he will be providing a weekly update with all the news from Santiago. So Johnnie, what's going on this week?
Hello, everyone. This is John in Santiago speaking to you on Monday, January the 8th, 2024. Happy New Year. A new year has begun. I'm delighted to tell you that I've teamed up with my good friend Leigh Brennan of the Camino Cafe podcasts. She's going to bring you regular Camino updates. These updates can be found on the Camino Cafe pages on Facebook. Let's look first at pilgrim numbers. All records were broken in 2023 when a whopping 446,035 pilgrims received the Compostelas during that year. Now, when the Feast of St. James, the 25th of July, falls on a Sunday, that's declared a holy year. And usually in holy years, the numbers go up and then they go back down again. 2022 was a holy year, but in 2023, the numbers didn't go down. They kept going up and going up. Significantly, the number of women walking was in the majority at 53%. And pilgrims from America have leapt into second place compared to all the other countries, with 32,063 pilgrims from the United States arriving here in Santiago. Thanks to my friend Lorenzo Peregrino for preparing this slide. Now, we don't know how many pilgrims walk part of a Camino in a year only to return later, another year, or 2 years later. Some commentators say maybe 10 times the number of pilgrims who received the Compostela walked part of a route during a year. That means perhaps a staggering 5 million people were on the Camino routes during the last year in 2023. But a new year has begun, and let's turn to the numbers in the first 7 days. In the first 7 days of 2024, until yesterday, 488 pilgrims have received the Compostela, and that compares very well with the number in the same period last year. Looking at the weather, very important for pilgrims. As you can see, there's still some rain around. There's always some rain around, but temperatures are also dropping and dropping close to zero. Although the truth is, here in Santiago, it rarely freezes. But please spare a thought for those pilgrims walking at the moment, the winter pilgrims. And if you're planning a winter pilgrimage, please plan well and be prepared. Finally, mask wearing in certain situations may return to Spain as a compulsory temporary measure. Healthcare in Spain has devolved to the 17 autonomous regions. And as I'm speaking to you now, the Spanish Department of Health is meeting with the regional health authorities to recommend that it becomes compulsory again to wear masks in healthcare settings. So that would be hospitals and pharmacies and so forth. This is due to a seasonal spike in flu, COVID, and other respiratory viruses. The measure would be temporary, and more details will be announced later. That's all the news for me for now, folks. See you next time. Buen Camino.
Thanks for the update, Johnnie. Let's hear from one of those pilgrims that just walked into the city. I met up this morning with Camino author Ann Bourne, who just walked the Camino Ingles. Let's hear from Ann. What does it mean to you to be a pilgrim?
Oh, wow. I feel like I belong to a private club of people with shared experiences, people who know how important a communal meal is, or how wonderful it is when you have a day that doesn't rain. You become so aware of the small things. You watch bugs walk across in front of you on the ground. You listen to birds in a different way, I think. I don't know.
You just finished the Camino Ingles.
Yes.
And this is the second time that you've walked this path.
Yes, I did it in 2018 with two really good friends of mine.
So how is it different this time?
Well, it's interesting. I think you get distracted when you walk with other people. I've always much preferred to walk by myself. And I think I learned this time in particular why that is, in that you miss a lot. You have these conversations, you're chatting, you're not paying attention to your surroundings perhaps. You're certainly following the arrows and not getting lost if you're smart. But I don't know, there's something more wonderful about walking by yourself. You become acutely aware, I think.
3 tips that you could offer to people who are maybe walking the Camino Ingles in the winter season. What would those tips be?
Well, specific to the Camino Ingles is to plan shorter days.
And why is that?
That's because the entire Camino Ingles is up and down. You go up and then you go down, and then
Yes,
you go up
it
and
is.
then you go down. Second would be to expand your horizons as far as places to stay.
Ah, what do you mean?
I found myself staying in every conceivable possible type of overnight accommodation, which was wonderful. I stayed in an albergue. I stayed in a casa rural by myself, which was amazing. I had the entire house to myself.
Oh, wow.
I stayed in a 3-bedroom duplex apartment that ended up not costing any more than a hotel. I stayed in a parador. I stayed in everything I could, because when you walk in December and January, like I like to, typically on the Camino Frances, 75% of the things are closed. But on the Camino Ingles, you're going to find that very, very few places are open.
Oh, boy.
And the ones that are open do not necessarily have heat. And that's the third thing I would say about walking in winter, is just stick to places with heat.
Do you have a story from this Camino? Is there something maybe about love or kindness or
Yes.
forgiveness?
Yes. I was walking from I don't know where to I don't know where. As any pilgrim can tell you, you do not know where the hell you are or what day it is. And there was a note in all of the guidebooks that there was a bar. And of course, it was probably New Year's Eve or something, and the bar was closed. Mm-hmm. So I thought, you know what, at least there were chairs and tables out in front. I can sit down, I can have my orange and my sad little granola bar and my bottle of water. You know, I'm going to be terribly sad, but at least I'll be sitting for a moment. So I sit down, I get out my little stuff, and this older man comes up and says, would you like something hot? And he said, I'll make you coffee if you want. And I went, yeah, I'll take your coffee. Yeah, sure. Do you want anything to eat? I said, I don't know, do you have some cheese or something? That would be nice. He comes back, he made me filloas, which are Galician crepes, plus a big slab of cheese and a hot coffee. And when I offered to pay him, of course, he said no. I walked away smiling. You know, it was just an amazing, wonderful experience.
What is it you're feeling in your heart right now being back in Santiago?
Well, I always feel like I've come home. You know, I know the cathedral so well. It's just really welcoming to me to be able to just go in and sit down.
Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to speak with us. It's always a pleasure to have you back here in Santiago. If you're walking this winter and you need assistance, please know that the Pilgrim House and Camino Companions are closed because, you know, we're off season. But Father Manny is still doing English Mass every morning at the Pilgrim office in the chapel. That's held every morning except for Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. Reverend Anna is also available by appointment. Her email is in the show notes in case you want to reach out to her. My email is also in the show notes if you need assistance. We do have a small group of English-speaking expats here, and we will do whatever we can to help you. If I don't know the answer, we'll find someone that does for you. All right, so each week I'll be bringing to you what's new in Santiago. You know, it seems like new restaurants are opening every day, and I think I could go to a different coffee shop or a different restaurant every single day and not repeat one. But one I tried out for you this week is on Rua Franco, and it is called Nómade. And Nómade is excellent. It is a small, cozy little place. But boy, the wine list is excellent, and the tapas, they were wonderful. So I hope you will check it out. Co-owner Fran is just wonderful. I think you'll enjoy this little restaurant. So be sure to check it out next time you're here in Santiago. And speaking of food, I want to give a shout out to content creators over at A Hungry Pilgrim on Instagram. You know, we pilgrims, we sometimes get tired of having tortillas and bocadillas, especially when you've been walking one of the longer routes. You just want something different. And you think, you know, is there anything different? And folks over at A Hungry Pilgrim are doing a fantastic job of showing us that, yes, you can get gourmet dishes, you can get such interesting meals if you just seek it out. Their Instagram page is loaded with tips about different dishes you can try in different restaurants all along up and down the paths and here in Santiago. And that's it for this week's news. We'll see you next week, Pilgrim. Ciao.